I would even do one step prior that the whole new fintech thing for me was something which it was a spark which ignited maybe 5 to 6 years ago. I've been for many years in traditional banking and non-banking financial institutions like leasing, infrastructure finance, all this classical and heavyweight stuff. Although in emerging markets, which always helps. In emerging markets, you see the dynamics. You are at the beginning of the things. And so for me, it was first shift from traditional financial to financial technology world, fintech. So BHander, for me, it was a continuation of the same trend line. So going to really to the edge of new developments. And as I mentioned, given my technical background, maybe it was a bit easier for me to understand, to catch the concept. And if I compare now to another possibility of me being still in a traditional commercial banking, in structured finance and the stuff I've been doing, I'm actually happy that I'm on this side, which is not lagging behind, but which might be the future trend. And when you see what the financial institutions are doing now, yes, they are cautious, but they have internal think tanks trying not to be left behind by the new entries. So that's like philosophically speaking, it's very good and actually very cool to be at the beginning of something new. Even in banking, when I started, I joined a bank that was a new bank in a new country for the group, so it was like a startup culture. When I left the bank, it was almost a big conservative institution, so it was really a time to move on. So as far as failures are concerned, there is no person without failure experience. I will omit those obvious failures of the childhoods and in sport life and like students stuff. One of those I really learned from was my first non-corporate experience. It was after years in financial institution in a bank. Actually, I decided to start my own financial consulting, doing what I knew, but working as a startup and working for myself with a partner actually. So there was a number of mistakes we made to learn of. Number one mistake, I can confirm it. Don't start a business with your friend, close friend. There are books about this, but you never believe until you really burn your fingers. Second, practical and very numerical mistake was that we did a 50-50 split in the company, shareholding split. So decision was really always unanimous or no decision, which always was the case. And I think all these type of mistakes. Another one was the communication. You have really to communicate and ask for a feedback. At the very beginning, the problem just starts to arise. So speaking of failure, we decided to discontinue that business. So we each one went its own path, but it was costly but very helpful experience for me. Speaking about short-term and long-term goals, short-term, we are now at Zug at CV Incubator. So for this period, there are basically two main goals. One is to crystallize and clarify our go-to-market strategy, because BHander is a product which can be applied in many segments and geographies and so on, but we have to start focusing at one. Second is investor search, definitely, to get to initiate a second round of financing. But speaking globally about long-term goals, BHander is actually a global product which enables really masses of people starting using crypto without not noticing they are using crypto. So we really want to be a global player. Yeah. It sounds, as usual, like global by every startup, but we do see the potential, and we also have a pretty encouraging feedback from various actors on the scene. So yes, global company with not much staff, definitely less than 100, but with millions of users. About our incubation program, I can say the following. So first of all, very happy to be selected here. As I learned, it was quite a tough competition. Normally, in such process, you compete with yourself, actually, yeah, because you have to show your potential to the selection committee. Great 12 teams. I include BHander as well. Cross-cultural and cross-industry, I would say, yeah, because we have everything from kids, education to to security issues, to payments, to fintech, to advertisements. I very much like the concentration of blockchain and fintech in general, knowledge and people and network here in Zug and in Zurich area. For us, it's very beneficial because we are a fintech solution, and Switzerland is one of the world's hub for financial technologies and finances and investors and non-banking. So it's really great place. And what I'm happy about that you don't need to sell every time the concept of blockchain at all. You don't need to explain here to people what is blockchain and what is cryptocurrency. So at least one big step is you cross out from your list of explanations. And the team is doing great work here. We feel not abandoned, definitely. We do understand that we are the batch number one here, so everybody is learning by doing. But I think we are doing quite a good synergetic job here and from both sides. Well, okay, arithmetically, I've been living and working or studying in Ukraine, in Austria, in the US, in Russia, and in India a little bit. So these are the 45 countries. Ukraine, this is where my heart is, definitely. Russia was fun to work, but it was mid and late 90s, where there was hope and development and some inspiration that the country will change for. Not the case anymore for me, at least. But Austria is the place where we decided to stay and really this where our daughter was born. So it was a family decision, unanimous decision. And I have to tell you that before I visited Switzerland, so far my answer to my wife was, whenever I traveled, to say, okay, but Vienna, but Austria is better, Now with Switzerland, I cannot say that straightforward, really. Yeah, it's not for the interview. It's my feeling. The other place with the same feeling, although totally different, was Singapore. After I visited it on business purposes for several times, I say, well, that's another place I could imagine living. Yeah.